Hi Val.
Hi.
So we're here in Dubai and you are the famous martial arts person.
Not yet. Dubai Miracle Garden.
Yeah, so what is the link between veganism and martial arts?
Okay, well, the way I see it is martial arts is a way of thinking in a simple way towards survival, rather than thinking about so much about possessing more and more and having more and more and having more ego. It's kind of the reverse side, because you go back to basics. Where into martial arts, you put things into perspective, because a warrior constantly deals with difficulty to the extent of life or death. So it helps put things in perspective so that you focus more on what's important in life, like health, like you begin to appreciate the good things, the small things, the simple things in life, like your health, like environment, nature, and having friends, being alive, surviving. And it kind of makes you appreciate smaller things. And it makes you, when you're dealing with life and death all the time, especially as a warrior, if you are, it helps you to see the small things really as really small things, because they become very insignificant compared to actually being alive. So you become less stressed and less affected by everything. Everything becomes small, and you become small as well. So the way you see yourself, just another person amongst many, trying to live and be a good person and survive. So their link from that as a way of the warrior, Buddha, or way of war, is you put things into perspective. And some martial artists think, I just eat to survive and I eat whatever is available, but in the hindsight there's a conflict that they're not recognizing and not seeing, that oftentimes they go to a place and they have a choice. Survival is about no choice, but they have a choice of having either meat or non-meat. But oftentimes they say, I'm surviving, so I eat whatever's available, and that's meat. But the fact is, there's something else that's available that's a much more simple, viable, cheaper, more vital option, which is being vegan. Because by doing it, you're being simpler and you're not hurting anyone. And there's something in martial arts called mercy upon ability. So as you progress martial arts, you may be aggressive at first, you may be focused more on survival, but as you progress, as you become better, you learn to survive without hurting anyone, without causing any pain or any kind of side effect, and because that can hurt you later. Sooner or later, it does, mentally or physically. So it's important in that respect in veganism that you live life without causing any negative impact upon others, because as you progress, that's what you're supposed to do. So you're actually contradicting yourself if you eat meat as a martial artist as you progress. And that's why you try to have as least negative impact as you can. Not 100% negative impact, because you cut plant, you're stopping life in a way, but you're not causing that much impact because the plant grows back anyway, and it's not as complicated to cut a plant. It doesn't have that kind of a family structure and nervous system, but it somehow you are affecting life. So it's just being more back to basics and simple in your choices, so that you don't affect yourself negatively or someone else. So that's the link, in a big nutshell.
You mentioned back to basics quite a lot. So do you think this world will actually appreciate and learn from going back to basics a lot more than trying to develop as much technology and advance into the future?
Yeah, it's important to maintain our values and ability to stay connected to our inner nature as you progress in technology. So there is technology helps you with that also, because you consume less when you have technology. It helps you travel less, helps you telecommute and waste less resources. So you can use it for a good cause in a way, but you can also use it for destruction. Everything can be good and bad. Technology or even books, knowledge can be used for destruction. So the idea is to use whatever you have, whether it's martial arts skill or knowledge or technology, for the betterment of yourself and mankind and the world, and to keep things as natural as possible, keep thinking naturally, and to keep yourself as balanced as you can, and not go too far and consume too much and want too much. Just go back. Every time you go forward, you must go back as well. So you're centered.
You are a martial artist, and you was mentioning stuff about being a warrior. So what's your main cause? Like, what do you fight for as a warrior?
First, it's for survival for myself, because if you can't save yourself, you can't save the world. And second, it's protecting the body, the health. And second, it's to protect. It's to improve the spirit, to be able to overcome fear, to overcome our tendency to be attached, to be thinking not in terms of ideas and values and concepts, but we tend to always think in terms of culture and tradition and attachment and possession. So martial arts, especially good martial art like ninjutsu, it helps you overcome that egoistic tendency. So it's a way of a warrior is not necessarily a way of conquering and destroying. It's more of a way of conquering your inner self, because if your enemy is your teacher and your opponent is your teacher and your only enemy is yourself, and when you overcome yourself, you don't have to fight, and you eventually find a more merciful way to protect yourself, and eventually don't fight. And that's the whole idea, is that it's a learning curve, hopefully upwards as you learn. You become less aggressive and less impactful on the environment and people. So, yeah, it's a long way, but everybody should focus on a way, whatever suits them. It doesn't have to be martial arts, but whatever art it suits them. But when they do it, they don't do it out of ego or possession. They do it out of trying to improve their inner self and going beyond attachment, going beyond the ways of the physical world, the material world, and to go deeper, to unify everything and to be balanced always. No matter if it's good or bad, or if it's a different shape, to see what's in common in everything, and to see what's the concept, the ideas. And that's the natural thinking. That's what helps people become more vegan, is that ability to not prefer a certain thing over the other because it tastes different, but to see that this is the concept. This is about survival. This is about compassion. This is about consideration. These are values and virtues that you're living off of. Not necessarily an ideology or a certain way. It's just it's the essence that you're living through. And any practice you do, whether it's martial art, filming, or drawing, you should always keep focused on that. And that's how you become so good at it. It's not by wanting to be so good at it. It's by developing yourself through it. And that's what counts. It's not technique or method. Technique is another way of saying method. It's not that. It's what's hidden behind it. It's the ideas within it, and that's energy. Because energy is conceptual. It's contradicting, and it's constant. So you have to always do things like that, like energy, because we are energy. And if you don't, you destroy yourself and the world. So you've got to find a way that you like to develop that ability to think beyond a method or a certain way.
What is it like being vegan in Dubai?
Okay, socially it's difficult, but it's possible. You got lots of Japanese restaurants, so the Japanese are really good with their vegan food, and yet they still have fish and meat and whatnot, but they're the best, I think, because the seaweed's there, the miso's there, other kinds of beans they're really good at. There's so many Japanese restaurants, and the Indians are okay. They often mix dairy though with the curry and the cream to make it more tasty, but they're okay. So I find my way around in the Arabic food also. You got the appetizers, the cold appetizers especially. There's lots of choice, like hummus and foo, the beans, and derivatives, many derivatives of that. So that's okay. Not a lot of variety, but if I do go out, which is not so often, if I do go out to eat, I have those choices. Even if I go with Arabs, it's fine. I get some choices. And people are waking up more and more, and they're ordering more and more vegan. I see, and people are like, they're not as naive and they're not as shocked to hear the word vegan. What's that? And more and more I realize they at least know what it is, and they tell you no, you don't have it. So it's becoming easier. Even like you go to a fast food chain like Burger King, Wendy's, you can order a vegetarian, vegan burger. Though the bread is a bit of an issue, so Wendy's I see is a better choice. Exactly, they got the corn bread, so corn flour, so that works. Mexican also, you got corn flour. Lots of Mexican choices you can and Dubai is very multicultural, so you can get all those almost anywhere. It works fine. Just socially, it can be a bit awkward, and people might not understand you, and they might argue, might ask you why would you do that, and then you tell them it's just more healthy. You just try and stay away from the ethics side, so they don't get offended by anyway. But they tell you, okay, enjoy your life, sarcastically. But I'm like, sure, I will.
Yeah.
And I do. It's not a diet of deprivation. It's lots of choice, and it's healthy. And if healthy is happy. If you're healthy, you live long, and you have less stress, and it's nothing wrong with that. So the healthier you are, and the more ethical you live, the more energy you have, and the more longevity and less problems. So yeah, that's the way I see it, to live a long, meaningful life.
So why did you become vegan?
Okay, so in around 2007, I went to India and I was learning yoga, and I learned some really tasty and healthy vegetarian dishes, and I thought, this is it, I don't need meat and I don't eat milk. Around 2007, yeah. And then from then on, I was on that course. I had some fish here and there, and I was reducing the meat gradually. So from getting rid of the beef to getting rid of the chicken to the turkey and to the fish. And even after I found about this video on YouTube from Florida Animal Rights Foundation, it really ticked, and it really resonated with me, and I understood how unhealthy and how unethical having dairy is because of the dairy industry, especially, and what all the animals go through and how that affects me as well in my physical form and in my spiritual form as well. I thought, okay, now I should get rid of the dairy as well, because that was on mine, because vegetarian includes dairy. So I got rid of the dairy almost immediately. Maybe a few days later, and maybe a week or two later, I quit ice cream altogether. But it took me quite a while to get rid of the fish, because I was led to believe it's the ingredients in fish or the nutrients are not available elsewhere, like iodine, whatnot, vitamin B12. But as time went by, I found other sources like seaweed, and seaweed has both iodine and vitamin B12, and other sources like fresh spring water, and when you don't wash things too much, and mushroom as well. So I found all these sources, and I slowly started quitting fish as well, and that was around 3 years ago. So that's how it worked. When I saw that video, it really it kicked me in the backside and woke me up, big time. And I just had no idea. I was stupid. Where does the milk come from? Of course, you have to have something pregnant and impregnated by force to be pregnant, because it's an industry that's huge. And there's no way you can wait for a cow to have intercourse and then slowly have an infant. And even if it does have an infant, you have to take it away to have enough milk for everyone. So yeah, it just didn't seem ethical or natural or sensible or anything close to that. So it was just it's a no-brainer. Yeah.
Do you have any tips for people that want to go vegan?
Okay, well, generally, remember, each cuisine has vegan choices, no matter where you are. If the cuisine is not very vegan friendly, you can have a salad. So if you can go out with your friends, you can go ahead and have a salad and have something more fancy at home. You can combine things and make a raw vegan dessert. It's very easy. Combine nuts with like coconut milk and some fruit, and it's very, very, very damn easy. You can have some date syrup for sweetener, some kinds of brown sugar if you're okay with sugar. It's not entirely raw, but if you really need it sweet, you can. And make sure you have your vitamin B12. Since you won't have seafood as vegan, you can have seaweed or many plant life that has iodine and vitamin B12. And make sure that the food you eat as well is not. You should wash it off pesticide, but don't overdo it. If you can get organic, then you won't worry about pesticide usually. So you don't need to wash it at all, maybe. So the more organic it is, the more natural, the less you need to wash it, and more vitamin B12 you retain. So it's entirely possible, and don't worry about missing any nutrients. Like, plants have everything you need, and we can survive with plants alone. Just make sure you go for that plant, the seed plant life, and if you can't afford organic, if you can't afford food that's not thoroughly washed, and or any spring water if that's not available, so you can go for that plant life. Seed plant life.
So thank you.
Yeah.